Hi and welcome to pmclounge.com. Today we are discussing variance analysis. As you can see the picture of the gentleman on this slide, what is the variance between the two? Of course, the analysis of this is what variance analysis is all about. But why do you need variance analysis? What is this part of? Which process is this part of? All of that, let's discuss it and let's get started. So first up, you need to understand that this is the only tool and technique under the control scope process. We recently discussed the control scope process. There's an in-depth article about control scope available on the pmclounge.com website, and I created a video on it as well. So I'll share the link in the description below. I'll share the entire playlist of scope management knowledge area because control scope is ultimately part of the scope management knowledge area. So scope management knowledge area, control scope is the last process in it, and the only tool and technique under the control scope process is variance analysis, right? So this, as the name implies, is where the project manager measures and compares two values. This can result in change request. Now the question is, how can this result in change request? If you're just comparing two values, if you're just analyzing two values, how can this result in change request? And that is what we are going to discuss in the later slides. So what are those two things, right? We just said that in variance analysis, the project manager is basically, seeing what is the difference, analyzing the difference between two things. So these two things are the planned baseline work and the actual work. So you have your project management plan, you have your schedule, you have your cost baseline, your schedule baseline, you have all of that, right? Now, what is your present status of the project, right? Where are you right now? What is the progress? What is the status of the project, right? You can get that from the the work performance data, the work performance information, right? Stuff like these, and we've already made a video on work performance data information, right? So you can refer to that as well if you're not sure what they are. But to do variance analysis, you need to have the work performance data, right? You need to have the status, you need to have the actual number, right, when it comes to what is the progress of your project. And that is what you compare with the planned baseline that you had, right? Now, this is done to figure out if the plan needs to be corrected, right? So what needs to change? Your plan might have to be changed based on the variance analysis that is done. Let's look into a graph which is going to help us understand this in a better way. So in this graph, basically what we are seeking here is the coding status, right? So I don't think coding is written anywhere. So let me quickly type it down here, not type it down, but write it down here. I'm very bad at using the mouse to write, so excuse me there, but this is the coding progress of your project, right? So let's say where are we in terms of coding, right? So on week 4, we were around 25% complete, right? So we are between 20 and 30. We are almost 30 here, although it's supposed to be 25, right? So basically the planned and the actual are the same for week 4, right? So you did a variance analysis when you were in your coding phase and you found that the planned and actual are the same, and that is what it is supposed to be in an ideal world. When it came to week 8, you were still on the same page. The plan and actual are actually same, right? So when you did the variance analysis, you realized that there's no variance at all. But when it comes to week 12, you realize that the planned and actual, there is a variance between the two. There is a difference between the two, and this needs to be corrected. So how do you correct this? This is where change request comes into the picture. This is where you need to introduce corrective action, right? So you need to take a corrective action to make sure that the project that your planned and actual become the same. So corrective or preventive actions can be recommended, which can then be put through the change control process to bring the project back on track. Like I said, corrective and preventive actions are actually one of the major sources of change requests on a project, including defect repairs as well, right? So when you see that there is a variance between the planned and the actual work on your project, you can introduce change requests. You can get them approved through the change control process, the entire change management process. Once they are approved, these kind of changes, right, the corrective actions are going to help you bring the project back on track, bring the planned and actual in sync, right? So that's all about variance analysis. Like I said, it's the only tool in the control scope process. From PMP exam perspective, it might not be that important. You might see a question on variance analysis, but usually it's one of the options which is an incorrect option in one of the questions, right? So variance analysis is not that important in terms of PMP exam, but who knows, right? Nobody can guess. Nobody knows the question paper of PMP. So that's all that I had when it comes to variance analysis. We have an article as well, a detailed article about variance analysis. I'll share the link in the description below. If you want to read, you can go ahead and do that. So that's all that we had. Hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Hit the like button if you learned something new. Check us out on our social media. PMC Lounge is our handle on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And as always, do check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free resource for PMP and other project management certifications, as well as project management industry information. Thank you.